The $200,000 question, is chiropractic school worth it? In this episode of our ChiroTrack Foundation series, we're going to explore the costs of chiropractic school, the costs of being prepared, and what that trajectory looks like if you're prepared for chiropractic school and know why you're going, as well as the costs if you're unprepared. And let's just start off by keeping it real. If you don't go to graduate school, sure, you can make a great salary, you can make a decent living, but your chances of having greater income go way higher when you have a graduate degree. Chiropractic is a doctorate degree. It costs a lot of money. So does every other doctorate degree that you go and get in the United States right now. So whenever somebody asks me, oh, are you sure it's worth it? Well, it's only worth it if you go to college and go to school to do something that you couldn't do otherwise without that degree. And it's only worth it if you've made that calculated risk. So if you've thought through what are your other options if you don't go this path and come to the conclusion that this is the path that you want to take and that you're going to figure out how to pay it off later, or you're going to put together a strategy, which we'll go over in this video, to reduce the stresses of having so much debt, then it makes sense to me to go to chiropractic school today, because you get to be a chiropractor, you get to do amazing work with people, get great results, be your own business owner, live the life that you dreamed of by having a great work-life balance. You could work less time, make great money, have that family time in your kid's life, be in the position where you could travel, and being a chiropractor is something special. So let's get into just this concept of the $200,000 cost of chiropractic. Tuition nowadays is going to be between $150 and $200, and your living expenses, depending on whether you go to school in Atlanta or in the Bay Area, or maybe over in South Carolina or down in Texas, it's going to be varied in regards to cost of living. But we're thinking it's going to be around $60,000 to $80,000 over the next 3.5 years that you take to go through chiropractic school. Sure, that could get reduced if you have a family member that has a place for you to stay, or if you're commuting from your house, you're going to save on housing and you're going to save on food. But let's talk a moment about the opportunity costs, right? If you just went right into the workforce right now and skipped graduate school, at about a $60,000 to $70,000 salary, you'll make $200,000 over the next 3.5 years. That's simple math. So we have to factor in this opportunity cost of years of your earning years where you're not working. So the total investment is definitely over $400,000 mentally, but it's going to be $200 on paper. And this is a big deal. It's like a big thing. School has continually gotten more expensive. People are more hesitant than ever. But I got to encourage you, if you want to be a chiropractor, don't let this be the barrier. There's good debt and there's bad debt. Bad debt is debt that you accumulate from expenses, things that are maybe not going to improve your quality of life, that are not going to align with your values. Whereas good debt is going to support you living the life that you want to live, following the path that you want to follow. And so you get to this point of making this investment through a series of steps. And we've created a pre-chiropractic program that helps walk you through the process of understanding at a deeper level what it means to be a chiropractor and why becoming a chiropractor is one of the most slept on career paths today in college student. Looking out at the options, most people are not considering chiropractic. We believe it should be right up there at the top as far as attractive pathways, but it's not easy. And we'll get into that right now, why it's not easy. So a lot of practices struggle. And why do they struggle? It comes down to either their marketing abilities, it comes down to the chiropractor's clarity and conviction, which we believe is caused by chiropractic student drift, right? Students that are just drifting through the program. We don't want you to just drift into the chiropractic educational experience. We want you to take as many different informed steps as you can so that you can get to this place where you're like, okay, I'm going to this school for this reason. I want to study a specific approach. I have clarity on what the chiropractic philosophy is, how I'm different than other healthcare providers, and I'm ready to compete in the marketplace for supporting people with a natural, sustainable, holistic approach called chiropractic that gets results and is affordable and really saves people a lot of time, money, energy on accomplishing their goals, whether it be pain-free function, improved posture, or just reducing their stress so they can live their best life. Now, the income reality spectrum is that if you take an associateship right out of school, a lot of associateships I've seen through the years are paying really low, like $1,000 a week, which equates to around $48,000 or $50,000 a year. And that is gonna set you up to struggle. That's gonna be you just getting by, not feeling super abundant. And you carry a lot of risk with this decision. Just a side note here, I believe that people need to be aware of the risk associated with graduate school and undergrad, and how student loans can be transferred to family members if something was to happen to you. If you were to pass away or something was to happen to you, couldn't pay those loans off, they'd be transferred to family members. So I'm always encouraging people to look into a certain type of life insurance called the infinite banking policy, and look into how they can transfer the risk associated with this education to their life insurance company. So putting a policy in place with your student loan money will allow you to cover yourself if something was to happen to you, something I recommend everybody do. But anyway, back to the income reality spectrum. So if you take an associateship that's paying a low amount of money right out of school, maybe you just want to learn the ropes, maybe you think that you'll learn the business, or you don't have that confidence in your skills and you want to just get your hands on people in the real world, you could expect to make around $50,000 a year, which with that $200,000 debt, it's gonna keep you through income-based repayments at a really low payment. So you're not gonna necessarily be able to afford your entire student loan payment right off the bat, which is okay, right? Income-based repayment, this concept that 25 years of on-time payments will land you at a place where you're forgiven on your loans, or you don't follow that program and you follow a more accelerated 10-year payoff where you make 10 years of on-time payments and you're forgiven on your loans. But in that context, you have to be working for a nonprofit. Back to the income reality. A lot of associateships in 2025 are offering between $80,000 and $100,000. Now, these are practices that are doing well, that have enough abundance in regards to income that they can afford to hire an associate and grow the practice. And so you're entering into a stable practice when you take one of those associateships. And even these corporate, the Joint and 100% Chiropractic, these corporate chiropractic chains, these franchises are offering around $80,000 as a base salary. So that's nothing too high or too low. That's pretty average, I would say, as far as like an income earning. Something that's gonna hold you. It's gonna allow you to sustain your lifestyle of having housing, right? You're a graduate of a graduate program, which means that you're a doctor, but really you're a chiropractor, so you stand on purpose. There's a difference between being a doctor and a chiropractor. When you get into that mindset of you're a chiropractor, you wanna give, love, serve out of abundance. You wanna have this lasting purpose that's burning within you, and you get that through your studies, through your discipline training, and that's another video we'll talk about how to truly become a chiropractor, but that's why we've built this parallel ChiroTrack program that helps support you through your pre-chiropractic studies and your chiropractic student studies. Back to the income spectrum. The top 25% of the profession makes between $150,000 and $500,000 a year. I'm in there. I've been practicing over 10 years now. Our practice has consistently brought in multiple six figures for at least the last 5 years. We've continually grown year after year. It took us 2 years to get into the six figures, and yet here we are still working at it. Let's talk about the success variables that matter. When going to become a chiropractor, clarity of purpose is number one. Our pre-chiro foundations course, check out the video link below to learn more of what's in there. Allows you to really get grounded in the chiropractic philosophy, science, and art. But having a business education, a mindset that you're gonna go and be an entrepreneur, that's where our module 2 of our pre-chiro program, the inner state, becoming a scientist, thinker, artist, teacher, but mainly an entrepreneur, in this context is being someone who creates value, and being a chiropractor, you provide so much value for people in their lives that if you get the sales down, if you get the marketing down, and you know how to have that conviction and clarity, you can really do some amazing things business-wise. Then having that community integration component, so learning how to be extroverted, even if it's not your natural disposition. There's a lot of intro extroverts or extro introverts. You have to know when to flick the switch on. We all have a natural disposition, but we also have one that can be developed. And so knowing how to get out into the community, how to make connections, those people that you meet, they matter, and thinking long term is what this is really all about. That's why you need to stay in the same place when you graduate for at least 5 years. That allows you to set your roots down in your community, and it's something that can't be emphasized enough. So many new graduates, they travel somewhere to get an associateship or to start a practice. They realize they don't like living there. They move to somewhere else. They start a practice or get a different associateship, and then they move somewhere else. And it's making it really difficult for you to generate some momentum and establish anything of significance. So get clear, that's variable 5. Get clear on your geographic location and your market understanding, who you're targeting, who you want to work with, spending time really thinking that through. And we go into detail on that in our Chiro Student Navigator 2, 3, and 4 programs, where we're catering to second year, third year, and fourth year chiropractic students, and trying to really put it in the forefront of their mind that in order to have a successful practice, you have to know who you're targeting. You have to know who you're trying to work with. You have to reflect on who you enjoy being around and design your practice so that you're spending a lot of time around people that give you energy, not take energy from you. So, some ROI scenarios as we wrap up here based on your preparation level. If you're an unprepared student, meaning you go to chiropractic school as a fallback option, you don't take it very seriously, meaning you just jump through the hoops, you get good grades in your classes, but maybe you don't attend any seminars, you're not going to student clubs, you're a little unsure of why you're there, you're having some buyer's remorse, wondering what if you would have gotten into that type of healthcare program you applied to, but here you are not embracing what is, and you're looking at a 20-year debt payoff at best, and that's if you stay in practice. A lot of students aren't in practice after a couple of years. A lot of new graduates are not still in practice after a couple of years because they don't have a passion for it. It's not their purpose. And so your lifetime earnings will be 2 to 3 million. Obviously, these are just ballpark numbers, but if you're moderately prepared, you've done the work, you've developed some skills, you've gotten maybe a good associateship right out, or you started your own practice and started to generate your own income and develop your own office systems, procedures, your branding, you're looking at more of a 10-year debt payoff and lifetime earnings of 4 to 5 million. But I will preface this debt payoff by saying you don't need to rush the debt payoff. As long as you can keep your student loan payment low, it increases your cash flow. And sometimes having better cash flow, pretty much all the time, having better cash flow is more important than accelerating the payoff of your student loans. That's why I always encourage people, obviously, speak to a financial advisor. I'm not one, I don't have a license in that, but I encourage them to focus on cash flow first, especially when you're getting your feet wet. And then highly prepared, these are the people that are making 150 to 500,000 a year plus. That's gonna require only a 5 to 7 year payoff. And now you're practicing something that you're passionate about, that creates a legacy for your family, that helps build the dream lifestyle of being able to travel the world. Let me remind you, as a chiropractor, you carry with you your skills in your hands, your heart, and your mind, so you can go and practice anywhere in the world, feeling fully free. If your values, if freedom is at a high level of your values, then you want to become financially free, which is when your income streams that are passive outweigh your expenses. And so as you make money, there's a whole separate topic. You're going to start to invest, and that velocity of money is going to allow you to develop more freedom in your time. It's going to pay off a lot of things. And so I hope that this was helpful in just getting you to see that that $200,000 price tag is not a barrier. It is a hurdle. It is something to be aware of. It does affect your debt to income ratio when you're going to try and buy a house or buy a car or apply for a loan. But if you're strategic, if you transfer that risk, if you strategize how you're going to make that investment the best investment you've ever made in your life, which I consider it to be one of my best investments I ever made, over buying my house and over buying some of the other things that I've invested in, then chiropractic school is a great fit for you. You have to do the work though. So if you're interested in working with us, we've developed an entire program, pre-chiropractic program, and we would love to support you. Click the link below and we will talk to you soon. Peace.